The rain was coming down in sheets as I stared out the window of my Chicago apartment, the city lights blurring into an indistinct mess. I'm Quinton, 44, and until a few weeks ago I thought I had it all. A beautiful wife, a comfortable life, a steady job as a software developer. Now I wasn't so sure about any of it. It started subtly, almost imperceptibly. A change in cadence. We'd been married for 15 years, together for 20. We met in college, the kind of meet-cute you only see in movies. I spilled coffee on her in the library, she laughed, and the rest, as they say, is history. Or at least that's what I thought. Lately, Cadence had been distant. Working late, attending conferences out of town, always tired. I chalked it up to stress from her job as a marketing director at some fancy advertising agency. I even tried to be more supportive, taking on extra chores around the house, making her favorite meals, planning weekend getaways. Nothing seemed to work. The first real crack in the facade came when I was doing laundry. Cadence usually handles it, but she'd been swamped, so I offered to help. As I was sorting through her clothes, I found a receipt in her purse. A fancy restaurant downtown, the kind we only went to for special occasions. The date on the receipt was a Tuesday night, a night Cadence had told me she was working late. My stomach dropped. I told myself it was nothing, a business dinner, a client meeting. But the seed of doubt had been planted. I started paying closer attention. Her phone was always glued to her hand, her screen lighting up with texts at all hours. She'd quickly turn it away when I came near, a nervous smile on her face. One night I woke up to find her in the living room, talking softly on the phone. When I asked who it was, she said it was her sister, Juniper, having a crisis. Juniper lives in California. The time difference didn't add up. That's when I decided I needed to know the truth. I felt like a character in a bad detective novel, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. I waited until Cadence was in the shower, then I grabbed her phone. I know it's a violation of privacy, but I was desperate. I scrolled through her messages, my heart pounding in my chest. And then I saw it. A message from someone named Silas. I can't stop thinking about last night. My blood ran cold. I clicked on the message thread and the words on the screen hit me like a punch to the gut. Explicit, intimate, loving. They were having an affair. A full-blown, passionate affair. I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the phone. I read through the messages, each one a fresh stab wound. They talked about meeting in secret, about how they couldn't get enough of each other, about how they were meant to be. I wanted to vomit. Cadence came out of the shower, her hair wrapped in a towel. She saw the look on my face, the phone in my hand, and her eyes widened in horror. "Quinton," she stammered, "I can explain." "Explain what, Cadence?" I said, my voice barely a whisper. "Explain how you've been lying to me for months. Explain how you've been sleeping with someone else. Explain how you've completely destroyed our marriage." She started to cry, begging me to forgive her. She said it was a mistake, that it didn't mean anything, that she still loved me. But the words sounded hollow, empty. I didn't believe her. How could I told her to get out. I couldn't stand to look at her. She packed a bag and left, her sobs echoing in the empty apartment. I sat there for hours, staring at the wall, trying to process what had just happened. My whole world had been turned upside down in a matter of minutes. The next few weeks were a blur. I barely ate, barely slept. I went to work, but I couldn't focus. I just sat at my desk, staring at the screen, replaying the messages in my head. I told a few close friends what had happened. They were supportive, offering words of comfort and advice, but nothing seemed to help. The pain was too deep, too raw. I hired a lawyer, a no-nonsense woman named Octavia. She advised me to file for divorce immediately. Cadence didn't contest it. She knew she was in the wrong. I found out that Silas was a colleague of hers at the advertising agency, a young, ambitious account executive. Apparently, they'd been having an affair for almost 6 months. As the divorce proceedings dragged on, I started to piece together the puzzle of Cadence's betrayal. It wasn't just about lust or boredom. It was about validation, about feeling desired, about escaping the monotony of our life together. She'd felt neglected, she said. I hadn't been paying enough attention to her. I'd been too focused on my work, too complacent in our relationship. Maybe she was right. Maybe I had taken her for granted, but that didn't excuse her actions. She could have talked to me, told me how she was feeling. We could have worked through it together. Instead, she chose to betray me, to lie to me, to destroy everything we had built. And for that, I could never forgive her. The divorce was finalized a few months later. I got the apartment, she got a settlement. We divided our assets, said our goodbyes, and went our separate ways. I tried to move on, to rebuild my life. I started going to the gym, taking weekend trips, reconnecting with old friends. I even went on a few dates, but nothing felt right. The shadow of Cadence's betrayal still loomed large. Then one day I received a phone call. It was from a private investigator, a man named Barnaby. I had hired him weeks ago on Octavia's advice to investigate Silas's background. I wanted to know who I was dealing with. What kind of person would knowingly sleep with a married woman? Barnaby told me that Silas wasn't who he seemed to be. He wasn't just an ambitious account executive. He was a con man. He had a history of seducing women, manipulating them, and then taking their money. He had multiple aliases, a string of lawsuits, and a rap sheet a mile long. I was stunned. Cadence had been sleeping with a criminal, a predator. I felt a surge of anger, not just at Cadence, but at Silas. He had taken advantage of her vulnerability, exploited her insecurities, and used her for his own gain. I decided I wasn't going to let him get away with it. I met with Barnaby again and we hatched a plan. We gathered evidence of Silas's fraudulent activities, his scams, his lies. We contacted the authorities and they launched an investigation. It took several months, but eventually, Silas was arrested and charged with multiple counts of fraud and embezzlement. Cadence was devastated. She had no idea that Silas was a con man. She had genuinely believed that he loved her. She had given him money, helped him with his business ventures, and even introduced him to her wealthy clients. She had been completely duped. I watched as her world crumbled around her. Her career was ruined, her reputation was tarnished, and her heart was broken. She lost everything, and I felt nothing. Part of me wanted to feel vindicated, to revel in her misery. But I couldn't. I just felt empty. One evening, Cadence called me. She was crying, begging me to help her. She was facing financial ruin, possible jail time, and the scorn of everyone she knew. She had no one else to turn to. I hesitated. After everything she had done, did I really owe her anything? Octavia advised me to stay away from her. She said that Cadence was manipulative and that she would try to use me again. My friends agreed. They said that I should just let her face the consequences of her actions. But something inside me wouldn't let me turn my back on her. I met with Cadence and she poured out her heart to me. She apologized for everything she had done, for the pain she had caused, for the lies she had told. She said that she understood if I couldn't forgive her, but that she just wanted me to know how sorry she was. I looked into her eyes and I saw genuine remorse. I saw a broken woman, a woman who had made a terrible mistake and was now paying the price. And I realized that I couldn't abandon her. Not because I still loved her, but because I couldn't live with myself if I did. I used my connections to find her a good lawyer. I helped her negotiate a plea deal with the authorities, and I even gave her some money to help her get back on her feet. It wasn't easy. It took a lot of time, effort, and emotional energy. But in the end, I knew I had done the right thing. Cadence was sentenced to probation and ordered to pay restitution to her victims. She lost her job, her friends, and her social standing, but she was free, and she had a chance to start over. I don't know what the future holds for her, but I hope she learns from her mistakes and finds happiness again. As for me, I'm still healing. The scars of Cadence's betrayal may never fully disappear, but I'm learning to live with them. I'm focusing on my work, my friends, and my own well-being. I'm trying to move forward to build a new life for myself. And I'm starting to believe that maybe, just maybe, I can find love again someday. I'm standing at the same window now, the rain has stopped, and the city lights are clear and bright. I'm not sure what the future holds, but I know one thing. I'm stronger than I thought I was. And I'm ready to face whatever comes next.